Hey there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ian McNaughton, and this is our third installment of our 2021 F1 season in review series. On Tuesday, we discussed Alfa Romeo racing. On Monday, we discussed Haas F1 racing. So today, we're going to be discussing Williams racing. Basically, we're going from the bottom of the constructors to the top. That's why we have Williams today. They finished eighth in the constructors outside of last place for the first time since 2017. It's their first points finish since 2019. They got multiple points finishes. Their first podium they got this year since 2017. So in a way, it's kind of been a successful year for Williams. That includes 4 top finishes for George Russell, 2 top 10 finishes for Nicholas Latifi, 8th place in the constructors, like I mentioned, with 23 points. George Russell got 16 of those points, 15th in the Drivers' Championship. Nicholas Latifi got 7 points this year. That's good for 17th in the Drivers' Championship. This was the last season that Williams had George Russell as their top driver. Russell is moving on to Mercedes this next season. He's already been driving for Mercedes in the 18-inch tire testing that's gone on these last couple of days in Abu Dhabi. Russell spent the last 3 seasons with Williams after winning Formula 2 Drivers' Championships in 2017 and 2018. Russell will be Lewis Hamilton's 6th different teammate, excuse me. Bottas, Nico Rosberg, Jenson Button, Henry Kovalainen, and Fernando Alonso. So this is going to be the 6th different teammate in Lewis Hamilton's career, his 3rd different teammate at Mercedes. Nicholas Latifi is obviously returning for his 3rd season with Williams next year. So they are getting a little bit of stability with Latifi and his financial backing. Best moments from Williams this year. My favorite moment was the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix. Latifi finished 7th, Russell finished 8th. Now, obviously, there were some drivers who crashed at the beginning of the Hungarian Grand Prix, and that allowed Williams to move up a few places than they otherwise would have been. But still, tremendous driving from Latifi and Russell to put themselves in a top 10 spot. And again, I talked about this in the last video or the previous video before that. Hungary is not the easiest place to get by somebody. It's not the easiest place to pass somebody. So, that has a little bit to do with it. But overall, a tremendous effort from Latifi and Russell at Hungary, where they have not had points finishes this, last 2 years. I think Robert Kubica was the last points finish for them in 2019. So great job in Hungary. At the Belgian Grand Prix as well, another bright spot. Russell qualified for 2nd in the rain. Latifi qualified 12th, but he finished 9th. Russell finished 2nd, of course. They didn't really have a race. They said they did a race. They didn't really do a race. But that was more the bright spot was the actual qualifying from that weekend, I thought, because of the fact that they qualified so well in the rain. And if you look back at previous Williams drivers, Lance Stroll has qualified well in the rain with Williams. Valtteri Bottas qualified well in the rain with Williams. So it's one of their low-key, wild cards, I guess, is being able to qualify in the rain. So, and then Russell also got some points finishes in both Monza and Russia. Russell had some strong qualifying in Russia that helped him. Same with Monza. So the best moment for Williams this year was actually on the track, getting points, putting themselves in competitive places. The worst moments for Williams this year, Imola, the 2nd race of the season, both drivers retired. Latifi, he rejoined the track after spinning off right in front of Mazepin. He came back onto the track, not quite in front of Mazepin, but by the time they got up to speed, Latifi and Mazepin were pretty well side by side, and Latifi was kind of pushing him off the track. The track was also running out of space, so Mazepin bumped him. It was Latifi's fault because Latifi got in the way, but as a result, he got knocked out. He got bumped. And then Russell and Bottas crashed, I believe, on lap 30 in Imola, knocking both of them out and kind of setting up the drama for the rest of the season. Because if you remember, Russell went over to Bottas while Bottas was still in his car. He gave him the bird. Russell was not happy about that, but it was, if I remember correctly, it was Russell's fault. Russell was primarily responsible for the accident. So that was not great for Russell and Latifi and Imola. But as we saw, as the year progressed, they got better. They improved as drivers. They got points finishes, which is all you can ask for the Williams drivers. Their last 3 races this season did not go well for Williams. 4 retirements between the 2 drivers in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Abu Dhabi. Russell retired in the last 2 races due to a collision in Jeddah and gearbox issues in Abu Dhabi. Latifi suffered a puncture in Qatar and obviously had the accident in Abu Dhabi. So clearly the end of the year was not great. The start of the year was not great. But during the middle stretch, during the European leg of the F1 season, they had some real quality races. It left you a little bit more to be desired by the end of the year, but you saw how good each driver could be in their car, how they could push it further, how they could get more out of their car than usual. And then this isn't, it's a worse moment, but it's not really a worse moment. It was a tough moment for sure with the passing of former team owner Frank Williams. He passed away on November 28th. He gave up team ownership. I believe last season was the last year that he was owner in name. So he, had a big influence on Williams. I don't need to go into it. A lot of people know how much Frank Williams meant to this team. There wouldn't be a Williams Racing without Frank Williams. And it's tough to see him pass. I think a lot of people knew that this day was coming. It was just a matter of when, not if. And it's always tough to see one of the originals, one of the pioneers go, especially with how much Frank contributed to Formula One, his impact on the sport. It cannot be denied. So rest in peace to Frank Williams. It wasn't unexpected, but it was still a tough moment for the team he created. This season for Williams, out of 5 stars, I gave them 2.5. I thought they were, pretty average this year, which is better than what people had coming in. Like a regular team with just a few podium finishes, some points, it would be average. But I think 2.5 is a really good number for Williams, considering how poor they have been in the last few years leading up to this. Storylines heading into this season. So Russell is going to Mercedes. That means Alex Albon, former Red Bull Racing driver, is replacing Russell. So the question being, how much does Alex Albon replace Russell? Is Russell give, or does Albon give 80% of what Russell gave, 90%, 100%, 110%? That's what we're trying to figure out. Albon has not driven a Mercedes engine at the F1 level. He was driving Ferrari with the Deutsch Touring motor cars last year, the DTMs. He was driving Ferrari last year, and he was also driving Honda as well, being a test driver for Red Bull and AlphaTauri. So he hasn't had that experience with the Mercedes powertrain at the F1 level. I'm intrigued to see how that goes. It's kind of like how I was talking about in the Alfa Romeo video about how Valtteri Bottas has never driven a Ferrari powertrain at any level in Formula One. So Bottas is having to make a change from Mercedes to Ferrari. Albon's having to make a change from a Ferrari Honda combination. He's got a bit of experience with both now to a Mercedes. So that's going to be really interesting to see. This is also a return of the 2018 Dams team, the F2 team, where Latifi finished 9th that season and Albon finished 3rd. Latifi and Albon were partners on the Dams team. So they're bringing that back into Formula One. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that goes, and see if they have as much luck, if any luck, compared to Formula 2. I believe Albon should be able to give at least 85% of what Russell gave To Williams, Albon can give at least that, if not more. I think Albon is a tremendously talented driver. It was too bad how it ended with Red Bull, considering he was a bit underqualified for the Red Bull car. The expectations were just too much for what he could bring. And in a way, it's kind of worked out because now Albon, after taking a year off from driving in F1, outside of some test driving, Albon has got back with Williams. He's finally got a new seat for this season. And with Sergio Perez and Red Bull, it's been a really good combination. It's been a really good partnership with those two this year. So I think Albon will do well with Williams. I would suspect that he can give at least 85%, if not more, to what Russell gave Williams. And will we see more improvement from Nicholas Latifi this year? That's my next storyline I have for the Williams heading into 2022. So he had 0 points in 2020. He had 7 points in 2021. He achieved his best qualifying by getting 14th in Imola. That was a starting position. And then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, he spun off on lap 1 or 2 and came back onto the track and re-entered a bit dangerously, was spun out by Mazepin, and he went into the wall. So the question with Latifi is, can he finish higher than 17th in the driver's standings in Formula One? If you look at the other teams below Williams, he should be able to finish ahead of both Haas cars, you would think. I don't know if he can finish ahead of Valtteri Bottas. He probably should be able to finish ahead of Guan Yu Zhou, the second driver for Alfa Romeo. I think Latifi is probably a bottom 5 driver in Formula One. But the question is, do we think he can get more than 7 points out of this new car next year? I think he'll have a little bit more, freedom. He'll have a bit more leash to work with this season, considering how well 2021 went by Williams standards. So I honestly don't know what more Nicholas Latifi could give. This might be the peak of Latifi as an F1 driver, and that's okay. It's not that he's a horrible driver. He might just not be cut out for Formula One. He could be a test driver, or he could be, the backup driver like the Robert Kubica. He could be like that. I just don't know what he is as a, with a new car, with a bit more of leeway, a bit more freedom. I don't know what it looks like with Latifi. So that'll be something to catch next season. And finally, does Williams go for a big splash in 2023, depending on how the season goes? So if Williams has another good year, if they look competitive, if the car looks good, if they have enough financial backing, I'm interested to see if they go make a move in the middle of next season. Latifi's money coming in for another season will help them a little bit. They've been getting some stability with Nicholas Latifi, which is nice. You like to see that. They could go for the big signing in 2023 to try and make them more competitive. They might think that the car is, closer to competing with Alpine and AlphaTauri, kind of like what I was mentioning with Alfa Romeo in the previous video. This is Williams thinking that we can get to that next level. We can take that next step, and we need another driver to do so. This obviously depends on performance and who's going to be available, who would be interested in going to Williams. This isn't the same Williams team in the past. For a lot of my generation, Williams has just been this kind of midfield team. They haven't been, on the same legs of the Mercedes or the Red Bull or even the Ferraris. For the most part, Williams has been near the bottom of the table in the standings. And maybe it'll take a new driver to get them out of that. It'll take a big signing to, get people to think differently of Williams. If some guys, I don't know who would be available. This is just purely me speculating. I'm not saying any of these guys would be interested or any of these guys are available, but, if if Sebastian Vettel was possibly available, I think Williams could go make a run at him. Fernando Alonso, if it goes poorly with Alpine next year, if if it hits the ceiling, then maybe Alonso is looking at moving on. I don't know if he would move on from Alpine to Williams, but who knows? If things go badly for Ferrari again, like it has in the last few years, I mean, Carlos Sainz maybe is an option. Like Carlos Sainz has had one of the best years of any driver. He had a great season this year, a fantastic season. And I really want it to work out with him and Ferrari. If it doesn't, though, maybe Williams makes a big play for him. The other guy I want to throw out there is Mick Schumacher. If potentially Ferrari, they have Leclerc until 2024. If they re-sign signs to another, longer-ish term deal, where does that leave Mick Schumacher? Maybe he goes to Williams. Who knows? That's what I'm interested to see if Williams, if they have a really good first half of the season at least, and they have the money and they have the resource available, maybe they go for the big splash. Who knows? So that's all I have for my 2021 F1 season in review for Williams Racing. Thank you very much for watching. It's greatly appreciated. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. If you haven't already, be sure to take a look at my Haas F1 review and my Alfa Romeo F1 review. Thursday, we're going to be discussing Aston Martin racing, so be on the lookout for that. That's going to be a really fun video as well. Thank you again for watching. Again, greatly appreciated. We'll be back again soon. Peace out.